Hey guys, and welcome to GameSpot of Thrones. Dave, where are we this week?
We are in sunny LA, well, sunny as it is inside, to see all the wonderful games for E3. And despite with being so busy seeing the games, doesn't mean we haven't got enough time for Game of Thrones.
And especially when so much happens like they did in last night's episode. So we're going to be talking about Season 6, Episode 8, No One. You haven't seen it? Turn away now. So in the Riverlands, we accurately predicted the Hound is on somewhat of a rampage.
Oh yeah.
He had his little peaceful time.
Well then, he had the peaceful time, then all his friends died, and then he finds the Brotherhood's brigands and wants to ask them some questions.
Oh my god, I can't believe you just did that, but I'm so glad that you did. The Brotherhood without banners, so we were under the impression that they were under the control of Lady Stoneheart, but no, it's our favourite. Dennis Pennis and his mate are back, Beric Dondarrion and Thoros of Maya, they're still around, so Beric's still in charge of the Brotherhood without banners, and they basically convinced the Hound that, you know,
You ain't all so bad.
You're not so bad, you should join us, because basically all the stuff you've done in the past, seriously the stuff that you can do in the future, can totally redeem yourself. But a couple of fan theories I think have been completely debunked in this episode. I'm not sure if we're going to see Lady Stoneheart.
No, like the theory was that she replaces Beric Dondarrion.
Yeah.
Although she was seeded, she's mentioned a lot, and her thing is hanging. There's been a lot of hangings this season, but she's nowhere to be found yet.
Yeah, it's interesting because the Brotherhood are like, we don't butcher people, we're not like that, we hang them because it's a clean death, which is, but you know, it's Catelyn's way of showing revenge because, you know, her throat was cut and that's why she prefers to hang people, and also, you know, they can suffer. But she's not there. I genuinely thought when the Hound was going to take a piss in the river that he'd like look up and she'd be behind him. Apparently not. But also it seems like the Brotherhood are trying to take the Hound north, obviously where the real fight is, which means that he can't go south and take part in Cleganebowl. So, I mean, this is even before the Cleganebowl gets wiped out, you know, fully in script.
Yeah,
but
so our dreams were dashed against the rocks twice.
Killed you once before, Dondarrion. Happy to do it again. Drop that arrow, you bloody girl. Tougher girls than you've tried to kill me.
So we are back in the streets of Meereen. Things are a lot more peaceful. The Red Priestess are preaching down his name. There's Targaryen banners.
everyone seems happy.
Yes.
But too happy. It's a little too quiet. So, typical throne style, spanner in the works.
Yep, the spanner being, you know, the Master's ships turning up. But before we see the Masters turn up, we actually say goodbye to Varys.
Yeah.
Little
in a
bit,
very suspicious timing. I feel like that guy knows too much. I feel like he must have known the Masters were going to completely retaliate because Tyrion's political ideas as he's got to Essos haven't really panned out.
And Varys does disappear like 12 hours before it all kicks off.
Or was it 12 minutes? You can't tell with this series because of all the jetpacks.
True. But I kind of thought it was going to be a bit of a filler scene when, like, the three advisors start having their small, boring party where they don't know how to tell jokes or finish them.
It's like a party with us, to be honest.
Hey. But then, obviously, somebody kicks the door in, and by that I mean starts shelling the pyramid they're in and destroying the city. And here we think, oh, this is Meereen gone then.
To be honest, I was quite annoyed because Tyrion, when he's in King's Landing, when he's the Hand of the King, he makes all these great decisions. And as soon as he gets to Essos, he just starts pissing into the wind, messes up. And not only that, when the enemy is literally at the gates, literally banging on the door, he just goes, oh yeah, I made a mistake. I'm going to make another one by just suggesting this really bad military strategy. So I'm super glad that even though we had that kind of characterization with Grey Worm and he's like telling jokes, I'm really glad he just stepped up and was like, no,
Yeah,
this is what we're doing.
Listen, I know fighting, you might know wine, but I know how to kill a man. But we don't actually get that far because who jetpacks in fast travels from miles away?
Daenerys and Drogon.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to be honest, next episode it's going to be what? She's going to take the dragons out from underneath the pyramid. She's going to ride Drogon into battle. They're just going to deal with the Masters.
I think one or two things are going to happen. She's going to use Drogon to torch the ships.
Yep.
Or she will use the Khalasar to take the ships.
Yep.
For her own. Either way, when...
She's got some ships.
Either way, she's got some ships. And when the Iron Islanders turn up, they're going to be like, what the hell's happening here? We came all the way. We left the brothel early for this.
Yeah, I mean, because what's confusing is if the Masters had ships this whole time, why did she just not take them? But also if they're attacking and the Ironborn finally get off their asses and
Get off
make
someone else's ass.
get over there in time to think, oh, this person's attacking Daenerys, let's help out, and then maybe she'll come with us. But the joke's on them because she's going to go with them anyway.
Someone's going to get boats.
Thought you were going to say something else there. All right then, let's go to King's Landing because to be honest, this was probably my favorite part of the episode just because of the intrigue and stuff that it was setting up.
Yeah, and the Mortal Kombat fatality.
We'll talk about that in a second, and rest assured in the edit I'm putting the music on. But, so Cersei is, totally trapped in the Red Keep, and now the Faith Militant are coming in and just properly making demands of her. And of course she does not like that at all, so she uses the mountain to literally rip a guy's head off.
Yep, head, skull, spine, all comes out with it.
The whole thing, which was just so amazing and brutal. But also, she goes to the King's Hall and there's a royal decree being made. And here is where another fan theory just gets completely dashed.
Furthermore, after much prayer and reflection, the Crown has decided that from this day forward, trial by combat will be forbidden throughout the Seven Kingdoms.
Does that mean no Cleganebowl?
I think watching that episode, both you and I shrieked when those words came out of his mouth. We were like, really, is this rest in peace Cleganebowl?
I mean, to be honest, it was too good to be true, but what they may be putting in its place may be even more awesome. So Cersei, she's kind of devastated. She's got the Mountain, who would be a clear winner.
Oh, for sure.
In
well,
any trial by combat.
Yeah, unless it was with a hound.
Well, that'll never happen now.
No.
But, she's talking to Qyburn, and she says,
Is it just a rumor or something more?
More. Much more.
we think the rumors are the wildfire deposits that are going to be under the city. And we know that her and Loras' trial is going to be in the Sept of Baelor. So I'm thinking she's going to go full madness.
Mad Queen this time.
Full Mad Queen. I mean, I know she's not a Targaryen, but she's got elements of the madness.
Yeah.
And she's going to blow up the Sept of Baelor. Tommen's probably going to cop it. No one will really care. But
Jaime will care.
Jaime comes back, finds out that she's done it, and Maggie the Frog's prophecy will totally come true because he's the little brother and he realizes that she's insane and has to kill her.
Yeah, that'll be
Hands
all
around
her
throat.
3 kids dead. Jaime's killed her.
So basically we've got rid of one incredible fan theory and just swept in another.
One in, one out. Okay, so quite a lot happened in River Run. We see
Yeah.
Brienne and Pod finally turn up, see it's under siege, and they're kind of like, oh, well, this isn't going to go very well.
Shout out to Pod's amazing tactical mind, by the way. He was like, that looks like a siege.
Yeah, thank you, Captain Obvious. So Brienne has to parlay with Jaime.
Mm-hmm.
She wants access to the Blackfish to try and convince him to leave the keep,
Yeah.
go to Sansa. And Brienne and Jaime kind of have a touching moment. They kind of rekindle what made us love them as a pair all those seasons ago.
Yeah.
And she even tries to return his sword, Oathkeeper.
Yeah.
But no, Brienne, it's yours now. You earned it.
My favorite thing about that is the fact that because the scene immediately preceding that is Bronn saying, do you think they're gonna, So
Yeah.
basically through the entire scene, everyone's just sat there going, are they?
No.
No, they didn't.
Eventually, they do not. Brienne enters River Run. The Blackfish cannot be convinced to
Yeah.
lay down his arms. He admits that he can see Cat in Sansa, but that is not enough to convince him to give up his
Yeah.
ancestral home.
I felt like that was a really strange 180 because he is known for being a really stubborn guy.
Yeah.
He refuses to marry just for the name, just for the honor. He's always been really steadfast in his opinions. So for him to be like, no, I'll never give up the castle. I won't even bother reading this note from my niece because I've never really met her. And then, Brienne says one incidental thing and he goes, oh, okay, yeah, sure, I'll read it. And then he keeps saying she reminds me so much of Kat, which again is another big Catelyn name drop out of nowhere. And then ultimately nothing happens. He stays stubborn, but he has that weird dip.
Yeah, you can see him kind of think about it, but then no. And we were all expecting after that to see the siege, but Jaime plays Edmure. He visits him in the prisoner's tent.
Plays him like a damn fiddle.
And Edmure he goes after Jaime's character, basically calls him super evil. How do you live with yourself? And Jaime kind of says, well, you've got a son. How about I launch him over the walls? in a catapult.
But that's the thing, though, because I think, especially show watchers, you get really caught up in Jaime's redemption arc, because he was obviously this really terrible human being, and then his relationship with Brienne, and coming back from that, when he goes to Dawn, he's trying to do the right thing, but you remember some of the stuff that he's done, so I'm really glad that they had that scene with Edmure, and Edmure is just like...
Your square jaw, your golden armor. Tell me, I want to know, I truly do. How do you live with yourself?
Because now it's all I can think about as well.
I was really proud of Edmure during that scene because he was saying what many of us thought about Jaime, but then he lets us all down by basically giving River Run to the Lannisters and the Freys. He approaches the gates, orders them to lay down their arms, and it's now their keep.
He's only been, like, the lady, his wife that he does it all for, and the son he does it for, he's never met the son, and she got pregnant on their wedding night, which I assume would be the first time they slept together.
Yeah.
Like, and he hasn't seen them in years, and he probably knew her for about a week before they got married. Like, would you? I
mean, I don't think I would, but the conclusion we see is the Blackfish escorts Brienne and Pod to escape. You see the little touching wave.
I hated that goodbye, by the way, because it was so pointless.
It was like the Hulk walking away.
Oh, no. I mean Blackfish and Brienne and Pod, because he could have easily just got in the damn boat.
Yeah.
He's like Jack in Titanic. He could have fit on the door.
Well, he insists on having a sword fight because he's not had one in years. And then just a random Lannister tells Jaime he's dead. So are we holding on to the thing where if they die off screen, do they die for reals?
To be honest, I think that part was, to be honest, quite badly done, and I think he is dead, and that was not befitting of him, I thought, because he's such a stronger character.
At least let us see him go out in a blaze of glory. Instead, we just get a throwaway line and forget about the poor old Blackfish.
And of course, the episode is called No One, so it's obviously centered around Arya, and it's the end of her story. It's the end of her time in Bravos has come to an end. So she's there at the beginning, you know, she's been stabbed by the Waif, she's been taken care of by Lady Crane, and again, it's this other kind of Catelyn name drop kind of...
You see Catelyn in Lady Crane, the motherly figure that she's now playing.
She's looking after her, she looks an awful lot like Catelyn, obviously dies like Catelyn, but obviously the whole episode is about Arya and her final culmination of the story.
No One.
Into No One, the final confrontation with the Waif, and they have this very bizarre, like Assassin's Creed-esque run through the streets, like this chase, and for someone who just got stabbed multiple times in the gut,
I mean, the only reasoning that I can think of that is maybe the milk of the poppy hadn't worn off, and that's the only reason she could deal with the pain.
Yeah, I guess so.
She bled over that poor woman's oranges.
Yeah. And my favourite was the shout out to the woman who just went, "My basket!" Because that's what we were all thinking. And then she obviously leads the Waif into the room, like you predicted last week. She leads her into the room.
That was the only part of the prediction that I got right, I'll admit to that.
Cuts the candle, fights in the dark, and we don't get to see that death either, which is quite disappointing, but we do get to see the gnarly after effect. We get to see her face with the eyes gouged out as well in the Hall of Faces, and Jack and Hagar is like, "Well done, you're finally No One," and Arya just goes,
"A girl is Arya Stark of Winterfell. And I'm going home."
So my question to you, Dave, what was the point in that?
Well, at the very least, it gave us some rad fighting abilities.
Some real Daredevil sequences. No, you know what, it's one of those things where I like it as I'm watching it, but when I think back to it, I'm like...
That was a season you wasted, man.
I want more for that character, so I would have loved it if she'd, kept with the House of Black and White and then ended up going back to Westeros as a part of them and then having that kind of connection rather than just squandering her relationship with them.
Hopefully, all the stuff she's done over the last season, all the training she's gone through, will play a bigger part in her character in the future and make the payoff a little grander than just the see ya, back off west.
So I'm interested to see where she ends up. If she ends up in the south, she's still got the list to work through.
Yeah, true.
She ends up in the north. Could be a nice little Stark family reunion. Maybe
After all their hatred and bad times. Hey, how's it going?
But also maybe she'll find Nymeria, because she's just running around the Riverlands right now.
That's true.
And also that's where the Hound is, so maybe she'll be reintroduced to 2 hounds.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
A couple of contenders for Death of the Week, I felt.
One clear contender, though, I think.
Let's talk about the Brotherhood without banners, because a couple of them did get some axes in the face.
The debate of how much the Hound is going to maim them, I think, made that scene.
That was pretty great. And also the way that the Hound was like, you are terrible at dying.
Yeah.
Those are your last words. Fuck you. Come on, you can do better.
But I think, obviously, the clear winner, the Mortal Kombat fatality.
So as per usual, we are going to talk a little bit about next episode, so if you don't want that spoiled for you, tune off now. But thank you for watching. But those of you who do want to hear about it, next episode.
Episode 9, the one where it all happens, Battle of the Bastards.
This looks like the most focused episode I've ever seen. In the teaser, it is literally all Battle of the Bastards. Is
All
this going to be
Jon
like
Snow, all the time.
an hour-long fight? God, I hope so.
I hope so. I really hope they're gonna go full Hard Home with it. You know, just really. I mean, it's the same director, the guy who directed Hard Home. They're gonna be some really intense battle sequences. I also hope we get to see more of Jon's slightly different character now that he's been resurrected.
Yeah.
Because you know, resurrection does change people.
And he does say, if I die, don't bring me back again.
Don't bring me back. But I'm also hoping that Littlefinger. Basically, I want it to go full Helm's Deep. I want it to look like they're gonna lose.
Knew you were going to reference Lord of the Rings in this.
I always have to. And Littlefinger's gonna be the Gandalf, and you know, look to the east. It's gonna be Littlefinger with the Knights of the Vale to come save them at the last minute. I hope.
The scene that I think we're going to see some character development is it looks like Davos finds Shireen's pyre.
I think you're right, but I also think, judging from what you see of Davos in the next episode preview, he looks like a man who has nothing to lose. So I'm genuinely afraid that they're going to kill him off, but he'll go out in a blaze of glory because, you know, he's done everything. And basically, being with Stannis sort of, it was like the purpose of his life, and Shireen, that friendship that they had, it's the last element of Stannis that he can really hold on to. And then he discovers that she died in such an awful way and that no one told him, especially not Melisandre. So I'm wondering if his loyalty to her is gonna, his loyalty, I should say, I mean, they're just there for convenience,
Yeah.
is gonna be completely shattered.
Well, at least if he does get killed off and I cry, I can blame it on the onions.
That was beautiful.
Thank you for holding that pose for so long.
So overall, Dave, what did you think of episode 8?
That was an intense episode. I was kind of skeptical, thinking they might stretch a few pieces because obviously this was one of the longer episodes. But they nailed it. They got a lot of really intense things in there, crushed some of my dreams, but also ignited some new ones.
Yeah, I mean, some of the parts I'm not 100% happy about. I'm not completely convinced about Arya's story arc, and I think the Blackfish was a bit underused, but overall, I'm still super excited about the stuff they're seeding with Cersei because that girl, she's
gonna get it.
do it. She's gotta go ham. So, you know, 2 episodes left, and they are going to be the longest in the seasons past. So I'm very excited. So don't forget, more GameSpot of Thrones next Monday, and it's going to be episode 9, so you know it's going to be a good one. Dave, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter @IrregularDave.
I'm on Twitter @LucyJamesGames. If you'd like to listen to the audio version of this, be sure to find us on iTunes. Please rate, please subscribe, because we love doing this show.
Yeah.
We really do. But for more, we'll see you next week.